Howdy! How's all my friends out in YouTube land on this brand new year, 2018? Here we are. My goodness gracious, the years are just flying by. Remember when I was a little kid, seemed to me like time just drug and drug and drug and drug. And now it's just flying by. Years are going by like fence posts down a road. Mercy sakes. I'm going to attempt something here today. We're going to see how this works. I'm heating up the wood burner, and I've got a pattern out here on a piece of tile, and we're going to see if we can burn on tile. I thought this might be a nice little experiment to try with, and we'll paint it up if we can get it burn on here, and just see where this goes. A nice little project for the first of the year. So we've got the gun heating up, and I'm going to test it over here. I've got a piece of wood. Yep, looks like she's getting good and hot. So we're going to try this on this piece of tile and see how it goes. See if that'll burn. I know it'll get through the pattern. So you got to hold it pretty steady, because since that tile is slick, you know, it doesn't have any grain to it, then the tip of the burner wants to kind of slide around. So you got to keep it, you know, pointed right there at what you want to burn. I don't know. It's burning through the pattern, but I don't know that it's getting through the glaze on the design. So this is just a nice little experiment to see if this will work. If it does, great, and if it don't, well, we may be engraving it, because I know the engraver will get it. But it just seems to be sliding around, not really burning through the glaze. And I've got that turned all the way up. That's as high as she goes. I mean, that's for wood right there. As hot as it'll get. And it's burning through the pattern just fine, but doesn't seem to be getting in the glaze. Do a little bit more with it, and if that don't get it, well, we'll come back with the engraver. But it doesn't seem to be burning anything in there. Let me set this aside just a second here, and I'm going to get a pick and try to get underneath that pattern enough to raise it up and see what it looks like underneath of there, but I don't believe it's getting it. Now, so that is just as smooth as a baby's behind right there. It's not burning through the tile. So what we will do, more than one way to skin a cat, we're going to come in with the engraver. And the first thing we got to do is unplug the burner. And we're going to get it set aside where it's not going to burn anything while it cools off. There we go. Now, we're going to fire up the air compressor and engrave it. And I'm going to need to find a good bit for the engraver. Get it shut off here. Let's find the right size bit to come in with the engraving tool. And fine lines on glass. Looks like it's probably a number 1 round. So get a number 1 round out of there. And this is how simple it is to remove these. You just push the plunger and it pops right out. Unscrew the end on it. Pick up your bit. You stick it in the hole right there in the end. You press down and that locks it in place. Then you tighten up the end and it doesn't come out of there. All right, now set the little box of bits aside. I've got my eye protection on and we got power. We'll just go to etching that in. And that's doing the job. What the wood burner can't do, the engraver sure as the dickens can. Sometimes you just have to experiment with your mediums until you find something that works. Everybody got their goals and resolutions for 2018 lined out. I don't make any resolutions. I found that's a good way to get disappointed. I've got some things that I'd like to accomplish in 2018. And it's just taking baby steps, just one little bit at a time. One thing I've learned over the years about making goals is you got to stick to them. Don't get discouraged. Things will get in your way. People will get in your way. There's a lot of jealousy in the world. And people will do whatever they can to try to stop you from being successful. A lot of petty people in the world. They don't know how to concentrate on their own goals. So they go out of their way to try to destroy yours. Don't let people do that to you. I'm finally feeling a tad better today. This bronchial thing going on with me started trying to break up some last night. I began to feel good enough to die for a change. For a while there, they have to get better to dye. I think I'm going to come through this. First time I've been sick in over 7 years. I let some situations drain me and attack my immune system. That's not going to happen again. Yeah. See how that works? You just go right on around it with the engraver. Now, this is a little more difficult to engrave on than the wood or the gourds or, you know, a lot of the things that I've hit with this engraving tool, because that glaze is hard on there. So I just let this bit do its thing. I'm not pressing with it. I'm just letting it grind. And you can feel it, you know, vibration of the tool. You can feel when it gets through the glaze. Just take it a little bit at a time right down through there until it gets through and you feel it. It's hard to describe it to you, but you know, if you're moving along, if you're sliding your finger along on glass, then you know it's smooth. But if you're sliding your finger around on rock, you feel a little bit of texture, and that's how it is with this. When you start out moving it, it's like you're sliding it on glass, and then when it gets through that glaze, you feel the texture, and it's like gravel or like stone. So you know the engraver is actually getting into it. Let me mute this a little bit. You're probably getting sick and tired of hearing this drill. Okay, now we're going to see how we did. It feels pretty good to me, but we'll find out when we peel the pattern off of it. Now, as you can see, the tool actually burnt through the glaze. That's where the black's coming from. That's the char. It burnt through the glaze on the pattern there. Get that pattern all peeled off and we'll see how we did, but it's looking pretty good so far. Took a little longer than I'd anticipated, but that glaze is on there good, you know, when they fire these things. So it takes a little bit of finesse to get through it. Now, I've had some questions about these carvers. Company called SCM Systems makes them. If you type in scmsystems.com, it'll bring you to their website and then look up engravers. I suggest if you're going to get one, get the entire system. It comes with the, I mean, you can just get the pins yourself, you know, if that's all you want. But I've got the air compressor and the muffler and the regulator and everything. It's easy to set up. You just follow the directions to set it up. The air compressor is right here under the desk. You probably don't hear much out of it. It's pretty quiet with that muffler on it. It's not like the industrial type you have out in the garage air compressors. And it takes something a little bit more powerful than your average I'm grasping for words here today. Brain's not quite functioning. Airbrush compressor is not quite strong enough for what it needs. But you can read all the specs and everything. If you happen to have something at home that'll work and you don't need to get all that, well, then that works too. But these are professional engravers. And it's like a dental drill. This is what the pros use when they're doing engraving. And you can engrave on glass or plastic or, as you see, tile, leather. Wood. All kinds of bits and stuff you can get for them to do different things. Get really good, and you can do gun stocks and do engraving on knife blades and all that. You know, that's what the pros do. They make like $100 an hour doing engraving with these things. You can carve eggshells with them. Done my fair share of eggshells. Get a little closer to Easter, we'll probably be doing a little bit of that. You know, Easter ain't that far off. 90 days, we'll be at Easter. It's first day of April this year. April Fool's Day is Easter. Bunny will be fooling people with the eggs. Boy, it's so sticky. Man, get it on your fingers. You can't get it off. under an edge of it so you can pull it up. Get in those little fun places and scrape it up off of there. And just about got her off of there now. Okay, that's looking good. Now, we're going to clean it. And the way I always like to clean them is using some alcohol on some paper towel. So we'll get our alcohol jug here. Can do it without knocking everything over. There we go. Put a little alcohol on the paper towel. Wipe her down. Take some of that char off of it. Clean it up a little bit. Get all the adhesive up. And that peeling stick. Make sure we get all the peeling stick and adhesive off of it. And up here where you can see what I'm doing, there's some adhesive stuck to it right there along that burn line. Get that off of there. There we go. Go over those burn lines a little bit and make sure that there's no more of it on there. The adhesive can mess up your paint job. All right, now. Looks like we got that. Get my pen out of the way. Get my paper towel out of the way. The lid back on the alcohol. There we go. Now, I'm going to paint this with some TBO. This is that oil-based paint that it sells. It makes cells as it dries. So get some paper towel up here. And with this stuff, you got to stir the dickens out of it. It's real thick on the bottom. And that's the stuff that's going to make it sell. So you got to really stir the far out of it. Scrape the sides down good. Make sure you get that all mixed in good. When you're looking at the sides of your jar, you want to see that it's stirred in good. And it takes a lot of stirring. So you have to bear with me here. So I stir the bejeebers out of it. You see the sides of it there, still some light color, and then it's darker on the top. And we don't want that. We'll scrape the sides down again. Now it's looking a little bit better. Okay. Now we'll scrape our stick off. Up there. And let's get this down where you can see what I'm doing. All right. Wipe the stick off so we don't get it all over everything. Now, I like to paint them with a micro brush. So we'll come over here with a micro brush, dip it in the paint. Now this is going to go on fairly thick. It's going to take a while for it to dry, since this is a very thick paint to begin with. Now I'm going to go right around these lines on it for the veins. And let the lines themselves be the defining factor for the veins on the leaves. I'm not going to worry about painting those. It is what it is. I think, you know, people get intimidated by art and being creative, thinking that they can't do it because they overthink it. They try to make it way more than what it is. I've had comments from people saying, oh, I can't draw, I can't art, I can't create. Yes, you can. You're just being too critical of what you come up with. You need to stop that. Your creative abilities are just fine. It's the inner critic that needs to be stifled. Do what you do. Had one person tell me that the only thing they've ever been able to draw is an elephant's behind. Well, okay, so draw it. And draw the very best elephant's behind that you can make. Then expand on it. I mean, shoot fire. If that's what you draw animals behinds all day long. You're being creative. Make cartoons out of them. Do what you do and do it to the very best of your ability. That is your creative talent coming out. I've always been partial to nature. I was born in an earth sign, and it's always made me partial to things from the earth. I was raised on a farm. And as a kid, we didn't have a lot of money, so I spent a lot of time outside admiring the flowers and the trees and bugs and natural things. I remember I was about 5 years old, I think, when I picked flowers for my mom. I thought these flowers. I was quickly corrected when I got my rear end beat because I'd brought her some dandelions from the yard. I thought they was pretty. And I was told that they wasn't nothing but a bunch of weeds. I never forgot that. I mean, people will forget the things that you say to them. They never forget the way you made them feel. Thought I was bringing her something pretty, and I found out that, wow, she didn't think much of my gift. And I know that there's a lot of people lives here in the city where I live, and oh my goodness gracious, they go crazy trying to kill the dandelions, and I let them take my yard. And I know there's neighbors that get madder than Dickens at me. I let them go to seed. I think they're pretty. It's part of nature. People spend way too much time destroying everything that nature provides for them. People get out and rake the leaves and all that in the fall. That's nature's way of protecting the ground underneath from all the harshness of the winter. It's the blanket. Those leaves, after they fall off the tree, that provides the mulch for your garden. Oh, these city people, man, oh man, they don't want to garden. Like all their food comes from the store. Watching somebody's video yesterday, they had one up about when their relatives had a fit over them gathering eggs and cooking them. So you can't do that. I said, well, where do you think eggs come from? It's the store. My stepson had a fit when I was milking the goats and drinking the goat's milk. And I asked him, I said, well, where do you think milk comes from? And he said, the store. People don't know where their food comes from. Okay, so we got the leaves painted on that. Now I'm going to come back in to just a little more, thicken that up just a little bit on some of these, because I want them cells to come through on this as it cells up. Now, we're going to do a little bit on the stem. Just a little bit. As Bob Ross would say, happy little stem. It looks like it needs a little bit more. We'll put just a touch more in there. All right, now, we're not done yet. I'll wipe my brush off good here. And then I'm going to put the lid back on that green. And we're going to take some of this gold and we're going to stir it up. And again, you got to stir the fire out of it. Because you want it mixed in good. Scrape the sides down. We have to do that a few times on it. Make sure we get it all mixed in good. I hope these videos that I'm bringing you where I'm mixing stuff up and not doing it the way that it's always recommended to do, trying to do something a little bit different, sparks your creativity and makes you want to try mixing up some mediums as well, doing some things a little bit differently. I mean, right now the big craze is alcohol ink on tile, and I've done my share of that, but I like to mix it up a little bit, do something different, do something other folks ain't doing. Now we're going to come in here. Let's see. I'm thinking probably a little bit right in here around the bottom of it, maybe. Now, I'm not putting this all the way down on the paint. I'm just kind of letting it run off the dauber because I don't want to get it all mixed in. And there's not going to be a whole lot of this on here. Just a little bit. A little bit here and there. It's like nature kissed it a little bit with some gold. Now just drag it through that gold just a little bit. Drag it out some. Because I don't want it just to land in one spot there. Just let the gold touch that green and then drag it. A little up here on the top. Okay, now that looks good to me. This might have just a touch more than I would have liked. We can rake a little of that off of there and then smooth it back out some. If you do it while it's wet, you can move it around some. Will help it a little bit. Wait till it's dry, then it's too late. There, that just gives an impression of a little gold. This might be a little thick here, so we'll remove a little of that. There we go. And to me, that looks wonderful. There it is. Now I'm going to need to sign this. Once it's all dry, then I will come back through and I will spray it with that spray for the automotive spray, so that it can be used as a coaster. If somebody wanted to use it for a coaster, they could hang it on the wall or whatever they want to do with it. And I'm looking here, got a little, let me shake up this acrylic. Sorry about shaking the camera at the same time. Shake that up a little bit. And dip the microbrush in that just a touch. And see which direction. I'm thinking that probably is a good direction. There. And I put my initials on it down here. This is the first piece of 18. All right. Always sign your work. And we'll wipe off the brush again. If you like what I'm doing here, share it on your social media so everybody gets to learn how to be creative. Give it a big thumbs up. Everybody smash that like button. Smash it! And I hope y'all come to the live stream tonight. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Monday night, New Year's Day, be the first live stream of the year. And I'll do something. I have no idea what it'll be yet. Lord, well, I'll be surprised at the same time, I reckon. So with that, I think I'm going to shut her down. And Happy New Year to everybody. Remember, Brenda's crafty. Be like Brenda.